internet. Not tonight. Welcome back to T3, that Thursday night thing. I'm your boy, Mr. U. Herb is in the house. Shane is en route. Roger's out here with his sniper rifle, ready to piss somebody off tonight. So he's out here, everybody's doing their job. What's going on, brother? How's it going tonight?
Man, it's a beautiful night, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. No hotel bed in the background for this time. So you back in your familiar haunts, so to speak.
Yes. I mean, it was a good time with family. But it's always good to get back to your own stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, there's just so much going on. I honestly literally don't know where to even start. Perhaps I shouldn't have worn a hat tonight. Because now I'm thinking about it more than I probably need to be thinking about it on this particular program. But anywho, as you folks riding in, the aforementioned Mr. Roderick Ragsdale is in the house. Evening, sir. And Roll Tide back at you, baby. All right, Lady Alpha's in the house. Hey, lovely gentlemen. Oh, I needed that one today. Thank you so
I think
much.
that was just for you and Shane.
Right now.
Yeah,
You know
she couldn't possibly have met me. I appreciate the sentiment, though.
Everything but say your name, man. So come on, you know what's about you.
She's gonna fuss at me in a minute. Watch.
Yeah, I know what's coming, and you so deserve it. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. It's all good. Well, we didn't plan to get into that, but apparently my boys didn't get the job done last night. I tell you what, it's crazy. What do you do when you say you got a friend, right, that screws up, and you watched him or her screw up constantly? You watched it. You said, "Hey, man, fix that. Watch out for that. It's going to be a problem later on." And they don't take your advice, right? And then you watch them, they had the biggest screw up worldly in history. What do you say? What do you say to that friend? You can't say, "I told you so," because "I told you so" just don't seem to really get it. What do you say? What do you say to that friend? You've been watching them screw up and you know it's going to happen. You almost could foretell the future. And it happened. What do you say?
Are we talking about the entire game or the entire series? Or are we talking about that fifth inning?
Man. I ain't talking about the World Series. I'm talking about the entire team, everything. I've been watching this thing play out in small doses since the season started. Literally the first or second game of the season.
Right.
You're going to fix this. It's going to be a problem later. You can't ignore that. You got to do this part. How are you not taking care of this part of the business? And all that stuff played out all in one series. Everything that I saw. What do you say to that friend, man, that you've been watching screw up? What do you say to him?
So what? Give us some like. What is it? What is that? Shane looks like he's in disguise. Is this really Shane?
No, he's in the house. He's repping a whole bunch of teams all at one time.
Oh, okay. He just looks like he's in witness protection. Like, is that?
Come on,
he just looks different.
If he had dark glasses on, I'd get Richard, but I mean, go because you can see his eyes. So that's that whole witness protection thing is out. I would say, but it's a preponderance of stuff. Is fundamental with fielding, knowing what to do when a certain play happens. I'm talking about simple little league stuff that everybody knows how to do. I ain't talking about people going into slumps and whatnot. That's going into slumps. It happens. You can't predict when the slump's going to happen. It can happen at the worst time of the year. You can't predict that part. I'm saying taking pitchers out that are hot in the biggest series of your life, of your career, perhaps, and you taking pitchers out and putting in pitchers that probably haven't had any action in most of the regular season. I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like we watch this play out. We like, hopefully they don't do this, when it really counts. And it did, and it really counted, and we got sent home.
So, like, specifically, you're kind of talking about game one. You didn't like the pitching decisions, but then, like, are you putting the fifth inning? Just blunders more on the manager? Are you putting that more on Boone? Or are you putting that on? Because that was, Judge drops an easy one like that. Can't really. And Judge had a bad series, But it sounds like when you're saying slumps, you're saying you're more mad at Boone than you are a Judge for this whole thing.
I can't. You can't get mad at somebody for that having a slump. You know what I'm saying? It comes at a bad time. Verdugo wasn't doing great either. You know, I mean, where batting is concerned, I guess you dig down into numbers. I mean, Torres doesn't have the best batting averages postseason either. I mean, so there's a lot of little things. You can't control that part, but there's a lot of things that were on him decision wise. Because that game one, I mean, sports is about momentum. I don't care what sport you decide to talk about. If it's college, we talk about the pros, even if it's basketball, momentum is important. And that game one, that was momentum for this team. I mean, we were going into this thing, probably have to win at least your 3 home games and steal one on the road. And you got an ace on the mound, and he's cooking. And you know that at the very least, he needs to be playing in game 4 or game 5. Why are you not letting him pitch? He's cooking. There's no reason to take him out. Why are you doing that? So just a lot of I don't know if he's overthinking or if it's a lot of those things are just they hurt. They hurt the whole deal. They hurt the whole deal. But Shane, you just jumped in, man. We were just talking a little bit about the Yankees and their eventual getting bounced out of the World Series. What kind of thoughts do you have about that? If you don't have any, it's fine. We can jump into NFL. I'm good with it either way, but I want to open the floor in case some fans want to talk about.
I mean, the main thing that comes to my mind, Yusuf, is something you've already talked about. I mean, both defensively, terribly played series for the Yankees defensively, and then base running has been a major issue for them the entire season. They ran themselves out of runs again in this playoff. I mean, the other thing for them is the Dodgers, the pitchers they had that were injured, I think the Yankees should be happy they didn't have to see that. I mean, they had some serious arms that were on the IR. The Dodgers are a lot better team than people really gave them credit for until they came out dominant against the Yankees. And I mean, if anybody in New York is happy right now, it's probably Mets fans because they're going to say, hey, we played them a lot better than the Yankees did down the road.
So Shane, let me ask you this then, with what you're saying and kind of what both are saying. Do you put that, because you already mentioned bad fielding, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're even mentioning base running and everything. Are you putting that on the manager as well then? Like, should he be gone?
I think defensively, I mean, when you look at the metrics and you look at the team they put in front of them, they were never going to be a great defensive team. I mean, they had glaring issues just in the players that you're going for offense, and sometimes you negate what you're going to do defensively. Now, right. Base running, I think that does fall on the coaching staff because there's situations where you need to know exactly what that player is capable of doing. And when you run guys into problems and you leave it on them, that's a coaching decision. Like you shouldn't have had Giancarlo Stanton trying to steal a base. You don't try to run him into plays like that. That's, those are things where, maybe back when he was first with the Marlins, yeah, I'm going to let him fly around the bases, but that's not what he does anymore. And I think those are coaching mistakes. I think Yusuf mentioned, like taking out a hot pitcher. I think especially the playoffs, coaches get real excited about, hey, let's get to the bullpen. We had a great outing. Let's see what we can do. But, I mean, when you're in that type of trouble, I think the Yankees just weren't prepared. I think they got lucky this year to be able to score as many runs as they did. And then, like you said, when your offense has a tough go and Judge has, by all, even his own metrics, just a terrible series, what are you going to do? You don't control that Freddie Freeman has the series of his life. When he comes into World Series, that's a man that I wouldn't have pitched to him. I mean, you gave up home runs every single time you throw a ball to him. That's been the last 2 World Series.
Yeah.
And people want to make it a New York thing. I don't like that because I don't feel like it's a geographic issue. But there's a certain level. This is coming from me, what I watch with the coach, and even in a lot of the post-game conferences, there's a level of arrogance when you have, and this is something that this is not. I'm not saying that this is what Bama is dealing with. I'm just saying because we had a talk about it after that first big loss that they had, and what like Nick Saban people were saying about their attitude going into it and how they treated the competition, that kind of thing. But the Yankees as a whole, and some of this is coaching to me, in my opinion, because he's the leader. But a lot of this is, okay, we got all this talent. We got these big boys out here, in the meat of the lineup. We got all this stuff. We got all these utility players that can do this and do that. So it made Boone at least a little bit complacent and not make change because say, you know what, I've seen them do this before, so I know they can probably do it again. But when you're going into like 3 games and you're losing 3 games in the World Series against a team that is not even fully 100% there, like back at the bench is talking about, it had a lot of guys that were injured. I mean, guys like Yamamoto and Flaherty, these guys, they've been out here balling in the regular season. So to not have your full squad and to still lose, it says a lot. And for you not to make any adjustments, which is something he's not great at doing that in-game adjustments. He's really not good at that. And because of that, I think it cost the team the World Series. And I don't know what else it's going to cost us, but going beyond that, I mean, because a lot of guys are going to be gone. Now we almost going to be starting all over again, trying to get big name players in here and have Boone to lead these guys because potentially he might be coming back, which is the most horrible news I heard all day long today. That's the worst news I heard all day. So if he comes back, we're going to have the same potential of the same issue because you don't think they need to change. You change players out. Hey, you know what? I'm doing good. I led my team to a World Series. What do I need to change? There's no oversight for him to change anything. So go ahead, Shane. Herb, anything else you got?
No. I do think, I mean, you mentioned it, and I'm saying this mostly like as a non-baseball watcher, but just kind of reading different stuff. Judge's kind of legacy is going to be kind of looked at after this. You know, you can't go into a slump and then make one of the biggest miscues in the field as well. You know what I mean? You could accept one or the other, but one of the lasting memories of him is going to be him dropping that easy one and leaving the door. You know, basically, and you kind of mentioned, look, I know you're down 3-0, but you've won one at home. You still got, 2 more. You win this next game, it's like you just never know, right, what's going to happen. So you got to get that one, and you can't leave the door open. And you can't have a guy who's in a slump also make a big miscue. And then, it gets followed up by another one, and then everything kind of snowballs. But he's got to step up in one way or another, and it just didn't feel like he did. So it'd be interesting to see if Boone takes all the flack for this, but Judge kind of slides by. And then to their point on there, Ohtani kind of got lucky to have one of his worst series, but they win, so nobody's ever going to talk about that. You know what I mean? But winners get to write history.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing good offensively, defensively is all you have. There's no third option. That's all you have left. Do one of them well. Give us a shot. This is amazing to me. But I already posted on Twitter. But shout out to the Dodgers and their fans, man. You may not like how they built their team, but they built it very well. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. I was very impressed with Yamamoto. I probably said his name twice already, but that man was out there. He was out there throwing streamers out there. He was doing his job, man. So they built their team right. Shout out to Dave Roberts, man. He's been taking it on the chin for the past 2 years. Hasn't been saying a word. He hasn't been deflecting, putting it on his players like another certain coach has been doing when things don't go well. But Dave Roberts hasn't been doing that. He's been humble about it. And they went out there and they got a World Series and they earned it, man. They earned it big time. So shout out to them, man. They did a great job. We got to retool and who knows what's next. But let's see if we can get a little bit of football because we got a whole bunch of stuff football-wise going on. And we're probably going to spend most of our time in the AFC because there's so much to talk about. But all right, but anything jumped out at you from the week overall before we start getting into more details? Anything that was just like, we got to talk about this on Thursday night. Anything that was just like a standout for you guys, either one of you?
I wanted Shane to go first because I want to know if he's going to steal the one that I'm about to talk about.
Well, if you say it first, you can't steal it. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Let him go first.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shane.
I was going to say, I think the thing that's kind of been beaten down is Tyreek Stevenson and, talking trash to the fans. Well, that
was amazing.
Hail Mary play goes off on the back. I mean, they have you on Twitter apologizing before the plane leaves DC. So, I mean, you're ready to go. I mean, that's kind of what stuck out most to me. The other thing is that
I hope you guys know that Raj is making this up, right? Like he's just trolling now. Okay.
To be honest, I had no idea if it was real.
Yeah,
I was like,
he's just
Maybe he'll explain this to us because I'd like to hear his explanation on this.
He's just making stuff up just to be Raj right now. If I was going to claim to be a fan of somebody, I would have told you guys I was a Freddie Freeman fan, since his Braves days, and I was fine.
Oh God.
So That's
Oh
what
man,
I would have gone with.
copy that. Oh, okay. I was just wondering. That's for Mookie Betts.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Shane, but I had to clear that one up.
No, you're okay, Herb. Like I said, I think the play in the Washington game, and then the other thing that sticks out to me is just Detroit. So many ways they can score in the offense that they're going with. I think they've just really set themselves ahead of everybody else in the NFL right now.
All right, so I know that on another show that we were on together, we were doing preseason stuff, and you were really high on the Lions. You still feeling this?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, on that other podcast, the big thing for me is Ben Johnson. When he decided not to take the job, and it's funny that it's the Redskins or I should say the Commanders that have done a great job offensively with Cliff Kingsbury, but I think offensively and a little bit of defense for Detroit. I mean, would I love to have Adrian Hutchinson and another defensive lineman? You bet, but I think Detroit has enough offensive firepower, and I think that they're going to be buyers coming into the trade deadline as well.
Yep.
Yeah, because now all of us watch, before you get into your hurt, all of us watch college, and we're really big fans of it. Do you guys feel differently about Kingsbury because of the kind of success the Commanders are having, or are we kind of giving Daniels more credit than that? Do you see Kingsbury differently in his abilities?
No. I've always thought he was a good offensive coach. We talk about this a lot. There's some guys that I don't think are good head coaches that are just really great coordinators. Like you kind of look at what Flores is doing with the defense in Minnesota. And I think sometimes people take those as insults. There's not. Like sometimes you're just really good at what you do. And that, that should be applauded. So I think it was just a match kind of made in heaven, and he's really good on the offensive side of the ball. And I think if you leave him to the offensive side of the ball, you're going to be happy.
Yeah, speaking of Flores, he better step his game up.
Yeah, it's been faltering lately, so.
Be on the streets. 61 points, 777 yards in the past 2 games. If you're the defensive specialist, that can't be happening.
Yep.
Those numbers not great. So, yeah, no. All right, but Herb, you had any thoughts about your big takeaway from last week? Anything that stood out for you?
So, do you lose the Browns locker room by stubbornly sticking to a guy who has been playing terribly, who you defended the whole time because of his contract, and then you go out and beat the AFC runner-up in the very first game with the next guy? Like, do I think Winston's going to be a world beater all year? No. But did we say, like, hey, this team has enough talent to compete if they made a change? We've been saying that all year. You make a change and you win the next game. The rest of the locker room's got to be looking around and thinking, like, so we couldn't do this earlier. Why? Because we're paying this guy a lot of money to be terrible? So, and like we said this last time, we're not wishing anything bad on Deshaun Watson, injury-wise or whatever. But the rest of the team deserves something, And so that was my biggest takeaway, watching them come back. On the flip side of it, how many games can Baltimore blow and still be, considered a Super Bowl champion? Like, this is a trend. They play terribly in one-score games. They play terribly with the lead in the fourth. It's, they forget to use Derrick Henry at times. They just decide, okay, let's just put it all on Lamar. And yeah, I know he's heading for another MVP, but why go out and get these players? Then you add another wide receiver. I guess they think that's going to fix the whole thing. But I don't get it with Baltimore sometimes.
Yeah, they're really confusing to watch.
Yes.
They're really confusing, man. We talked about it so many times. On the Cleveland front, I think most of my thoughts about them were on the defensive side because they had an elite defense for the past 2 years, maybe 3 years. So I thought that part would be at least the most stable of their the stable side of the ball. So to see them come out there with Jameis, I'm like, wow. I didn't see that one coming, but
yeah. After trading away one of their wide receivers. So, but to my other point, Baltimore gave Derrick Henry the ball 11 times, 11 carries for a guy who's like a volume guy who gets better in the fourth quarter.
Y'all had that last year.
Yeah.
So you put a 6'4", 250-pound beast in there for a reason, didn't you? Are they trying to conserve him for later in the season? Because if you don't get there, it's not going to mean a whole lot.
Yep.
I don't get it. Maybe somebody who's a Baltimore watcher can help us out, help us get some clarity, because I don't get it. If you got him, why you're not using him to the fullest? You worry about being injured? I mean, you can't worry about that kind of stuff, because if you don't get to the big dance, what good's it going to do you? If you don't get in the playoffs, what's really the point? So I don't think I understand. But there were two things that happened this week that I guess they were takeaways for everybody. I'm surprised you guys didn't mention them. But the whole Jets, Aaron Rodgers situation, and then the Anthony Richardson situation. I guess we could start with Anthony Richardson first. They played the Texans last week. They lost by 1 point, I believe it was. This is now, I know that young quarterbacks got a process. It's the same in college. It's not really a new thing. They got a process on how they function and operate and stuff. But this young man, he's been up and down like a roller coaster since the season started. Let's just be honest about it. Since he's been in the NFL, it's been kind of up and down. It hasn't been consistent whatsoever. You want that? I'm not sure who's more inconsistent, him or Caleb Williams. That could be a cool poll question. Which one is the most inconsistent? Because they've both been up and down, up and down. We look at Daniels, and we got him almost on a pedestal because even though he's not doing everything perfectly, he's largely consistent in what he is doing. And the Commanders are at the top of the NFC East because of it. So that's cool. But this young man's been up and down. There's been some injury issues. Same thing happened last year as well, going out for a certain number of games. Like it's a minimal number of games. I think it was 5 or 6 games last year, something like that, with an injury, or maybe I think it was even longer than that. Now he went out for a couple of games or a few this time too. And now they're bringing in Joe Flacco. But he had a 44% completion rate, so it's not great. He got sacked 5 times, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And somewhere in the midst of this game, he decided to pull a Roberto Duran and say, no mas, and throw the white flag up and say, get me out of this right now. I need to take a break. I'm tired. Thoughts?
That was, because we talked about that on another one. That was just amazing. First off, I told somebody, you could have tortured that information out of me. If I had to go out for a play, I promise you I will limp off the field. Yeah. I'll get an ankle retaped. I'll get a shoulder retaped. I'll go into the tent, drink some water, and come. Like, there's just no way. And somebody tried to defend it, like, hey, the only players that don't sub out, is the quarterback and the O-line. Yeah, because they don't run as much. Like, the receivers do it because they might sprint down the field 40 yards, come back 20, and they usually do it after a big play. But that's what happened. I think it ended up being like a 1st and goal. He had to run around. He had to throw a play, whatever. I don't care, man. Hand the ball off on the next play and stay in the game. Yeah. But you're the quarterback. That's just not something you can do and say, So, yeah, you couldn't have tortured that information out of me.
That's fair. Shame.
I think Herb hit on the most important thing. Your quarterback, number one, against all odds, regardless of what you're looking for. You're looking for a pocket passer, a runner, whatever. He's the leader of your team. For you to literally say that I'm too tired to make a play that's going to win us a ball game means that you don't get to play for me ever again. As a coach, that would be somebody, like Herb said, you'd have to torture me to get that. He could have done anything. He could have been like, I had to go to the bathroom. He could have said anything. But to say that, I mean, you give him credit for honesty, but you also, as anyone who's ever played any sports, you can't imagine somebody that subs out at a time where you're most needed.
After the first play that you had to scramble around on. Sorry, Shane. Go
exactly. No, exactly. And the other thing is, you're going to tell me that you got tired from that? You played at Florida where they never threw the ball because they've never trained a quarterback before since Spurrier left. And that's exactly. All you did in college was run. All you did with the Colts was run. And then now you're going to tell me that all of a sudden you became tired? Jonathan Taylor would have taken the ball. You could have ran the ball 3 more times. You could have done, you could have took a 3-step drop. You're going to tell me you're too tired for that? Could have thrown a screen pass? I mean, I think it's going to mark his career. I wasn't a big fan of him as a quarterback. I think he's an outstanding athlete. Can he throw the hell out of the ball? Yeah, you bet. But, I mean, decision-making was questionable before. It looks even worse now. We talked about, like Herb mentioned right there with Cleveland. When you put Flacco in the last time, he got the ball to other people. So is the question, does he not get the offense? Is he trying to figure out what's going on out there, and that's what's speeding things up for him? But, I mean, I've never, you have quarterbacks that are out there limping around. I hate to bring them up, but Matt Stafford has played with a broken arm before and still gone out there and just gotten smashed when Detroit was never protecting him. You know, there's quarterbacks, there's other athletes that have gone through this and just taken an absolute pounding and never once tapped out. Like I mean,
This is hard to understand.
It is.
Like, think of Tua. Like, if you had anybody that could literally tap out and say, I'm not playing football anymore, I've had 13 concussions in the last 8 months.
You probably should do it.
And he exactly. And what does he do? He goes, I'm going to run the ball. This time, maybe I'm going to slide.
Perhaps.
You know, and that's why people will follow him. I'm not saying that Anthony Richardson should, risk his own health, but you've got to be kidding me on that.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. Though. He's not risking his health. I mean, if anybody is risking to O-line, they go on out trying to make sure they try to save his bacon and keep him upright. And he talking about he tired. Then the O-line guys ain't tired too, protecting you.
Yeah, if I'm Quentin Nelson, I go, yeah, those 3 defensive tackles that I've blocked all game, they make me pretty tired as well.
It's unbelievable. You know what? I don't even have a comparison for a quarterback. Nothing comes to mind right now. If you guys got one, you're probably much smarter than me anyhow. But I can't think of one quarterback from back in the past 30 years I can compare to this and say, you know what? It's like this. I'm coming up blanks. I have no comparison. Just like you unbelievable. You on another level of unbelievable right now. And people are complaining. Well, people are saying that it's kind of like split on social media. People are saying, you know what? He should never come back. Like you said, Shane, which is a very astute point. And they said because he got picked so high, he deserves a chance. Because he's such a high draft pick. Maybe he should come back. I'm like, I don't think I want him to come back.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting over here talking about football. I'm not playing, but what do you guys think?
I think Ballard takes it on the chin on this one. Ballard has made some bad moves. I mean, they had Ryan Griggs in there before, and there are a bunch of people that left the Colts because they didn't trust the GM. And now, Ballard, who has always been thought of highly in the NFL, the last couple of draft picks, they have not panned out well for him. He hasn't been able to find a quarterback, and, you do a ton of scouting. You do a ton of talking to other teammates. Like I said, I would rather him thrown an interception on 1st and 10, and then I can go, hey, I can teach him to look where he needs to. But how am I going to get my offensive lineman and the rest of the team to believe in him when they know that he took himself out because he was tired? I mean, kids don't do that in Pop Warner. It's absolutely ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Why do you?
And so to follow that one, how do you hold other people accountable?
Exactly.
Hey man, I need a little more effort on that pass I threw to you. I was tired.
Exactly.
Hey man, I need
yell
you
at a wide receiver
harder
for not running out a fly route when you couldn't run anymore. You're like, man, I've just ran 12 miles. All we're doing is running verts.
Right.
You're telling me you can't give me a pass?
Over.
Right.
The respect game is over. I don't know how do you win that back?
No,
you don't.
What do you do to get that back?
Yeah. And this is an obscure one, but Kyle Lowry when he was playing for the Raptors took himself at the end of almost end of the first half. I feel like, and they were asking him later. He's like, I needed a mental break or something like that. So that's the closest thing I can get to you. I was trying to remember his name, but yeah, it was because it was the most random, and that's back. It was before they had traded, so they were always getting beat up by LeBron, and I think it was another one of those series.
Wow.
And he took himself out. So that's the only other instance that I can get like anywhere close to it.
And he doesn't have a great time on the free agent market either. He doesn't. He's not highly coveted.
Well,
I don't know because of that, but I'm just.
I mean, you take Deshaun Watson. He's got 13 trials going on at one time. He's getting absolutely blown up. He still went out there every single play. Like, even he didn't back down in that situation. You have players like Drew Bledsoe that gets hit by Mo Lewis, almost dies on a plane ride, gives his game up to Tom Brady, and he would have still gone back out there if they let him. Like, I don't know how you come back from this, because as a coach, I would never put him back as the leader of my team.
The best count we got is Deshaun Watson. That's like, wow. That's not great.
And you know what I think of Deshaun Watson. It's hard for me to give him any credit.
That's how we all feel about him on the show. That's my whole point. That's the best count we got.
And to make it even worse, you're not playing well anyway.
Yeah.
Like if you're an all-time great and you have one thing, people might make excuses for you. When you're playing terribly and you're inconsistent, the people are like, okay, you're playing bad and you sat out of play. Like neither one of these goes together.
4 TDs, 7 picks, 958 passing yards, and the season's almost halfway over. So, yeah.
But this is what happens when you take a developmental quarterback and don't develop him. So, as much as the blame is with him, it's with the organization. It's not like he was blowing up everything at Florida.
I thought he'd have time, not behind Minshew per se, but I thought he'd have some time to develop because he was straight up developmental.
Yeah. Which is not usually something you want to take with the fourth pick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, well, that's okay. I'm great. I'm great at rant. Why can't the Giants be in the draft for a quarterback and everybody in the whole league not need one too? I thought the Colts would be okay. Now we're sitting here talking about the Colts potentially getting another quarterback. Come on, they just did that last year or the year before that. We let us have the quarterback space to ourselves and have a good pick so we can get off the snide and stop looking like we don't know how to play football. Now the Colts are going to be back in business again. Only looking for a quarterback. They be moving up to the first round now. Is that what we're doing? Oh man,
Colts will be there. The Titans will be there too because they'll replace Levis. Like the list.
Titans, y'all just had one last. You had y'all QB draft last year. You doing it
and
again?
the year before that too. So.
And the year before that, yeah, Malik Willis again. Yeah.
Yep, Malik Willis, then Will Levis. Like,
is that what we doing?
Yeah.
But again, that's the great explanation there, though, is those are quarterbacks that flashed in college, and then you made a pick based on like, man, his intangibles are wild. They just won 11 games, and that doesn't mean you're ready for the NFL. You know, everyone in the NFL was the best player on, like, that's, you hate to say it, but each level up, you're getting better and better. And the thing is, like, when I look at Anthony Richardson, your third quarterback in New England is Joe Milton III, who's going to get a chance to play, it looks like. They're the same quarterback. That's an athlete that can throw the ball, but that didn't play in a set offense. So the Patriots say, you're only good enough to be our emergency quarterback, where the Colts go, you're going to be our starter. Like, that's on your scouting department. That's on your GM. You have to do a better job of that. And a lot of times that's what people do. Like, people went after Jaden Daniels, and Yusuf, I was on the other one. I'm like, Drake May's on my team. I'm a Patriot supporter, but I didn't support him as a pick. I said I would have gone J.J. McCarthy. I would have gone Jaden Daniels. Like, people don't give Jaden Daniels the credit for how much work he puts in. Like, this guy studies, he uses VR, he's doing all sorts of other things off the field to get better every single day. And then you hear these reports of these other quarterbacks where they're going to try to play with their athletic and they're not going to pick other skills up, and you can't do that in the NFL. Everybody on the defense is as fast as you are. It's not, you're not Deion Sanders. You're not blowing everyone out of the way. You need to be able to know where the ball's going.
Yeah. You said it perfectly in there. With these guys flash, and sometimes it's not even like a whole game or a whole season. It's like, did you see Richardson in these 3 specific games? And they will take that and ignore that Florida didn't have a good season. And the Joe Milton comp was interesting because I never thought of them as the same, just because I don't think Milton is nowhere near as athletic, but he is a big arm who, like, if the guy's 5 to 10 yards away, you might as well forget it. Like, that guy is not getting the ball. Pretty much, I think the only time he was athletic is when he played Alabama. It seemed like he ran really well. And everyone else, he kind of took the rest of it off. But that's an interesting comp because it does kind of tell you, Richardson should not be on the field. But they saw a couple games where he had great yardage. But to your other point, doing that in college, man, especially in some of the teams you play, you get to a team where it might have one NFL guy for the whole roster versus now, even the third string can track you down, in the NFL. Yeah. So it's just different, and they don't develop those guys. So,
I watched them in Michigan. I don't know. I mean, I like the ability to maneuver, like I said, the athleticism and making play with your legs. I was cool with that part, but as far as the accuracy and where you put the ball and helping the receiver out and stuff, because sometimes you gotta. We talk about it all the time, especially in New York this past year, about putting the ball in a place that's most advantageous for your receiver. To kind of get yards afterwards and kind of put him in a place where he don't get his head knocked off and stuff. So Milton wasn't really great at doing that. So
no, he's got a big arm. That's what it was. That's what they loved about him.
I'm not quite sure the comp is exactly the same, but it's all good. It's close enough for me. But let's get into the Jets a little bit. Then we'll do a little bit of a best decision if we can fit it in. If we can't, it's totally fine too. But what's up with these Jets, man? You got rid of it's funny because you made it sound like Solid was the bad guy. You put him in the black hat. Now, surprisingly, in the world of media and social media, I haven't heard one word about why they walked him out like he was a convict. Why they made him walk the Green Mile. I haven't seen one word about that since he left. I was saying, so like, okay, so you treated him like he was a convict, like he was a criminal, like he did something that was really bad. Like, you know what? You're so toxic. I can't have you contaminating my team. So you walked him out like that. I mean, you got guys like Rich Kotite who never did anything good for the Jets. And you didn't even walk him out like that. Adam Gase, he was universally panned and vilified by Jets fans and NFL fans worldwide. You didn't walk him out like that. But Robert Saleh, the guy you thought was going to come inside here and save y'all, you walked him out with no respect for him. And now your team is not, it's not only not getting better, but you put all of the franchise into one person's hand, a 44-year-old person with true leg issues. And you put it all in his hands, and look what's happening. It is hilarious.
I love it.
You say it's hilarious.
Yeah. And now the defense is kind of not playing well either. So it's like the part of the ball that he was really good at. So is this he had more influence over the defense than you thought? Or are the players honestly, you know how they do their little mini protests where I'm just not giving as much effort? Because no offense to New England, but there's just no way Jacoby Brissett should take a game-winning touchdown drive with 70 yards on you. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't have, I still see, not if you have a decent defense, but if you have a defense called elite, that shouldn't happen, right? So what's going on?
I don't even know. They're so in another stratosphere that they're actually making history in ways that almost nobody's done in the history of the whole entire NFL. This team, in doing and having these kind of stats, it should have a win in doing that. It's the only team that kept their opponent under 20 points, no touchdowns, allowed less than 250 yards, and they still lost. That happened out of 751 games. That only happened one time, and that's the Jets. That means it never happened in history before them. So the level of ineptitude on the offensive and defensive side is like, it's epic now. We talk about NFL history in a bad way. I don't know what they're doing. Every time I think about their OC and half of them, like, you got this guy off the trash heap. You really thought that much about him? I mean, friendship aside, I mean, you really thought he was going to help you out? And where he was, he could touch all different areas of the team, and he was considered probably one of the worst NFL coaches in history, if that's even possible. And you bring him over here, and now your friends here. You got everything you want. Speaking about Aaron Rodgers, you got everything you want. You brought Devontae in. They were rumoring that stuff. We were talking about that in the offseason, right? On different shows. On this show, we were talking about, if they get Devontae, along with Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and they got Lazard already. They're gonna be competitors in that division, and then some. Devontae's here. Now what? This is just bad, man. It's epic bad. What did you guys think about the Jets? And if not, we'll move on, because this is so sad. I don't want to talk about it more. What do you say?
I mean, for me, like Herb said, you're at the point where the Jets, there's going to be an awful lot of players making business decisions. How hard am I going to work? What's this defense going to start looking like? I think the biggest thing it shows again is, I guess Aaron Rodgers doesn't mind being the villain, but he doesn't help himself. I mean, in these situations, he's playing terrible. He's not the same player that he was. Is he hurt? Yeah, definitely. But I mean, he makes it known when he throws people under the bus. He doesn't care. He'll throw his whole family under the bus. He'll throw everybody else that's ever played with him under the bus. Hackett must have pictures of him doing something for him to love him as much. Like you said, he's been a terrible offensive coordinator. But the thing is, and I agree with Herb, and being a Patriots fan, they never should have lost that game to the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett is not ready to run an offense. It's been proven time and time again this year.
Right.
And they let him march the ball down the field like he was Joe Montana trying to get a Super Bowl victory. I mean, it's true, Yusuf. I mean, the Jets defense, if you're world-class defense, there's no way that he's the quarterback that beats you.
Yeah.
If you lose to Jared Goff on a 90-yard, you lose to any of these other quarterbacks at the top, you go, hey, better guy beat us. That's not the
Yeah.
case if you're the Jets.
Yeah.
You lost to an inferior team and an inferior quarterback because
with no playmakers.
Exactly. Nothing. No, there's no offense. That's and for you not to be able to stop them when it mattered, that means you're giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have changed, man. I don't know if you've been watching any Jets games specifically. I'm glad we don't get to have that many of those out here. I couldn't take it. But there's a lot that's changed, man. I mean, when he was in Green Bay, believe it or not, he was in the bottom 4 of in the NFL, bottom 4 for the league. So he wasn't doing great, and he had numbers that were, I guess, reasonable enough because of the talent that he had to warrant him going to the Jets, as some big pickup. But now, he's kind of majoring in short intermediate passes now. He's not doing a whole lot of deep passes like he would normally do. I don't know if it's a trust thing, or if it's a physical issue, but things have definitely changed with this team, man. In the words of the immortal Mike Greenberg, man, and he's one of the biggest Jets fans that I know of.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the most epic failures that I've ever seen not in NFL, but in sports. I don't. That could be his hard talking, man, but this is epic, though. I mean, this franchise, like I said, you gave it into the hands of one person. I mean, he doesn't do good for himself when he's talking in public spaces and stuff. The things that he says, his demeanor. I've heard one of you guys mention, I'm not sure, it might have been you, Herb, about just his attitude, what kind of comes off of him. You know what I'm saying? So you give somebody like this the keys to the kingdom for the most part, because I don't know what else you can give him that you haven't given him. His own personal toilet, his own personal bidet. That's all that you haven't given him yet. He has everything else. You gave him all the culture that not a head coach at this point, but you gave him all that he wanted. You gave his 2 favorite guys. If Greg Jennings was still playing, he'd be on the team too. I mean, so you got everything you wanted, and look at this.
And it's still bad.
You're a laughing stock. So it's like basically one hit from Tyrod Taylor. And watch Tyrod come in and light it up. Same thing happened.
I mean, could it be worse at this point, though?
No. He was a spark. The same thing happened when Daniel Jones went out and Tyrod came in. We got a spark. And Tyrod got hurt, and the spark was over. I'm saying, but
that was it. Yeah. No, it's just a mess, man. It is just a mess. So.
It's horrible. We ain't gonna have time for best decision tonight, and that's totally fine, man. Let's get into our predictions for this week. Man, there's so many games we left on the table. We didn't even get a chance to touch it because we don't. I want to talk about the Bears, a whole bunch of different stuff, but we didn't have time for it. But all right, so predictions. All right, so tonight, TNF, we got the Texans at Jets. You guys can add commentary to any of the picks you want. I got all of the numbers here, all the odds. I'm going Texans here, even though Vegas is saying Jets. Like we talked about last week, I don't care. They just are playing themselves. I'm still going against them. So I'm going Texans here. Who do you guys have? Texans, Jets.
I'm taking Texans. Yeah, but it scares me how banged up they are. I'm not even sure who he's throwing the ball to tonight, but I'm still going to take them because I'll never take the Jets. I'll never take Aaron Rodgers.
Fair enough, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I know that Jays is out, the ACL. ACLs are killers, man. So he is going to be out. He will not be there.
Collins is still not back, right? So
I don't think Nico's back yet. Believe it or not, I already had a parade for me by the time he came back. So no, I don't think he's out yet. So they're relying on Tank Dell to be the number 1 wide receiver. He did good last week. I think he had like 44 in the touchdown or 64 in the touchdown, something like that. So we'll see what happens with that. Joe Mixon's still catching passes too, so they can use that. And they're relying on guys like Robert Woods and John Mechie, who you know very well.
Yeah, I forgot Mechie was there, to be honest. And that's our boy. But I forgot he was there, so I'll be rooting for him tonight.
I hope they do well because there's no way in the world I'm rooting for the Jets tonight. I can't do that. I'm so sorry. Also, I think, yeah, that's fine. All right, so Cowboys at Falcons. Cowboys got a one-dimensional running game. You kind of can see that it's not a whole lot happening there. This is the game that Vegas is saying they're probably going to win too. I'm going with the Falcons. This will be the first thing that I get to watch.
I got Falcons as well.
The first Texans game you get to watch? Okay. Shane?
Probably if you're getting regional stuff, you don't always get the Texans because she's on, I think, the East Coast, so she might not get them ever. So
Falcons as well.
They show it out here a lot, man. Broncos at Ravens. Originally, I said Ravens, but I'm like, after what Herb said, now I'm wondering if I should even be trying to even think about doing that now, because the way they've been looking, I mean, you better give Henry a big game. That's what makes sense, especially in this situation against the Broncos. But is that what they're going to do? Is Bonus going to light them up? I'm going to go with the Ravens, but I reserve the right to change my mind. Shane, Herb, what do you have?
I got Ravens, but I'm not very confident anymore in anything.
See, I went Broncos on this one.
I can't even argue with him. Like, I can't even say that's a bad pick.
Why?
Why? I mean, we've hit on it before about the Ravens. Sometimes they just forget how they've built their team. Like, they do this every year. I think, like, if we're talking about our 5-pack, the Ravens for the next couple of years and for the last couple of years, they're your losing the first round of the playoff team, because they'll play great all season long, and then they get in the playoffs and it's like, wait a second, all the things we did to get here, now we're just going to scrap them. Sounds great. And I think Denver has something to play for, and I think that they can attack the Ravens in ways, like if Cleveland's the one that can do that to you offensively, and Herb mentioned, you get rid of what was your top wide receiver. Denver has some weapons. I think they can outscore them. And the Ravens' defense hasn't played as well as it has in years past.
It has not. Yeah.
So if they give a full dose of Henry, they're still going to lose. That's what you're saying?
That's not. He doesn't know that they're going to do that.
I don't think they will. I mean, if it was me, he'd have 25 carries.
Yes.
I'd let him run the clock down. Like, that's the same problem. They were up in the game before. They should never lost to Cleveland. That's you thinking you're smarter than you are. Just run the ball.
11 carries, and then they go out and get another wide receiver. They think that's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not going to help. All right, Dolphins at Bills. For me, this is easy. I'm going Bills here.
Yeah.
They can change my mind. It's a big line they got there. That's 6. It's big. But I'm going with the Bills here. You guys feel the same way about it? Going Buffalo.
Sorry, Raj. But yeah, Bills.
We love you.
The Dolphins can't beat them. Can't beat the Bills even when Tua was like fully healthy and everything was fine with them. So who really knows? I wasn't
going to mention that part. I was going to just say that Tua was getting his life together, so he can give him a little bit more time. But you just submarine them bad boys. I'm gonna keep on moving. All right, Saints at Panthers. I take Saints here. I mean, it's all in Rattler's hand. I don't understand how to have a line like this. This is still Rattler. He's not doing what you think he's doing here. So I don't understand that this number is huge.
Because it's still the Panthers.
Seven's a lot. I know, but 7's a lot. Oh man, okay.
You're not wrong, but I'm taking the Saints anyway.
If Dalton, I don't think Dalton is going to play, but if he was playing, this would be a different situation, I think. Shane, you going with Saints as well?
I'll go Panthers. I think the Saints are just beat up. The Saints are just beat up.
It's not a terrible pick.
Yeah, I don't think the Panthers have a ton of talent, but I don't know who's playing for the Saints anymore. Like when we're talking about injuries, the whole offensive line is decimated. You've gone through quarterbacks, you've gone through wide receivers. I don't know what's going on there. And if Carolina's going to pull off one of those surprise games, then, maybe it's against the Saints.
Yeah. I have my pick 'em up on the screen right now, and I'm just staring at it because I have the Saints right now, but I'm like, oh, this would take a lot of components.
They don't have Deontay no more. That was their biggest threat. He's not even on the team anymore.
Was he there before though? Like,
do a great job of getting him the ball. Yeah, he was there before. He actually helped. He's not even
there
there anymore.
They got like one win. I don't know if he was helping all that much.
Yeah.
Is that quarterback or is that Deontay? Come on now.
Because even with Dalton, they weren't doing that much. So
yes, they were. They were lighting up with Dalton was in there.
Did they win one game? Like, what is your idea of lighting it up? they look good in that one game they won, but all the rest of them have been trashy. So
that only one game he started. Okay.
That wasn't the only game he started.
It wasn't?
No.
Think about he had some fantastic numbers for those games that he did not win.
That one game that he won, that was amazing. Love it.
Raiders at Bengals. I'm going with Bengals. Yeah, that 7.5 sounds about right. I think the Raiders are shell shocked at this point. You guys got Bengals or Raiders? That shouldn't be too hard for you.
I have
Shouldn't think
not
about
the
that.
Raiders. I didn't pick the Bengals, but I just picked not the Raiders.
Shame.
I agree with Herb and the way he put it.
You always agree with her. You can just say it.
Hey, other than the 13th tight end that the Raiders have drafted, I don't think they have any offense either. So I think Cincinnati wins just by the fact that there's still some offensive players on the team.
Yeah. Can I also say
Buck Bowers
this?
is amazing.
I didn't know Gardner Minshew was as bad as he was. Like, I think I caught most of their last game. I thought he was like fun and scrappy and exciting. I didn't realize he was just bad. You know?
I tried to check that in the offseason. No one wouldn't believe me. I told y'all this.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I said Gardner Minshew, Ryan Fitzpatrick. These boys, they ain't it. Oh, man.
So what? Okay, so you told me that. What did I say about Gardner Minshew?
You agree with me. You didn't trust him. Yeah. Let's keep moving. Chargers at Browns. I don't like this one, but I'm going to go ahead and go Chargers here. But that's just my heart talking. I don't like this, especially what the Browns did last week. I'm like, the way the Chargers are winning games, that's what concerns me. Because they winning games. I'm talking about scraping. They scrape to win games. It's not they ain't dominating nobody. They scrape to get every win they get, and some of their points be in garbage time. They be scraping. But I picked the Chargers. They got a 4-game win streak against Cleveland, which is one of the main reasons why I'm picking them. They won 4 straight against them. I don't know though. The Browns with James might be on a little bit of a streak, but who you guys got? Chargers, Browns.
Going with Winston.
Wow, cool.
I have Chargers, but tight.
I agree with Herb. Huh? You said I agree with Herb?
No, I said I have Chargers, but tight.
Those points are looking real tight, huh? That too. Oh gosh. All right. Colts at Vikings. I'm not. It's not waste time. This is Vikings across the board, right?
Yeah.
You sure? Because Flacco will be in there. You sure?
I'm still going with it.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure. Brother. I just said Vikings. I'm not even sure because Flacco, he's done good when they're there. Alex Pitts is actually getting some respect when Flacco's out there behind center, but not with Richardson for some reason. Commanders at Giants. I ain't falling for the okie doke no more. I don't care what they do. I'm going with the Commanders here.
Yo,
how about you guys? Commanders, Giants.
Can I ask you a serious question though? Don't the Giants want to lose this game? Like, isn't the best thing for you to play well and to lose and get a better draft pick?
I could pick some games that they probably should have lost. I don't know if this one's going to be it just because of bragging rights and that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you really are tanking, if that's what they're doing, which I can't tell, that's what you're really doing. You don't want to win any of the games. You want to be competitive, but you still lose. So, but
that's why I think it's the perfect. Like when you asked your question, who's nailing their rebuild? The Giants are finally nailing their rebuild. You didn't re-sign a running back that you wouldn't have helped you, right? You're getting one last look at your quarterback who you're like, look, we can get off him this year. We're going to give him one last shot at it, right, to see if he's got anything. You've proven that your number 1 draft pick was a good pick and that you did well there. And now you can move on with the rest. And now you tank, and if you don't like any of the quarterbacks, you trade and get some more pieces, man. I think it's going perfectly. Look competitive and lose. I think your biggest question now is, do you fire Dable or not? But I think the Giants are having a great season. Like, there's no.
Yeah. Have you seen the standings for the draft? Have you seen I invite you to take a look at it. We won't spend time doing that. I invite you to take a look at it to see where they are. They are losing now. They're losing games. But look where they are. And then there's so many teams ahead of them that's losing at the same rate or a little worse.
Yeah. Well, like New England tried to help you out. They won a game, so they're trying to help you out and move back.
We're in the bottom 10 of the top 10 in the draft right now.
Right.
So that's not great. But yeah, we're going to lose this game because if Daniels is playing, we're probably going to lose this game probably. But we're being competitive, though. We're competitive on Monday night, too. But hey. All right, so Shane, you said Commanders, right?
Commanders.
Of course.
Sorry, Shane. My bad.
No problem. I agree with you. I think you're right, Herb. It's yeah, I mean, the Herb plan for rebuild. This is exactly what you're stating. You know, you hit on all those points. The quarterback thing is already going to become your next move.
Yeah.
I think you have Dexter Lawrence, who's been a great defensive player for you.
Yep.
I think you have an okay defense. I think, like you said, the number one question is, does Brian Dable get another year? And
Number
then the
one.
other thing, well, that's what I think he should already be gone. I think he should already be gone. I don't think that what he's put together in these last couple of years warrants him still being around. I think the Giants kind of putted around and decided, well, it's kind of late for us to make a decision now, so we're going to keep him around. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to go, you got to reload. You've got to make a decision. You've got to reload. The Patriots show you exactly what happens when you do that. If you try to play middle ground and you don't have great draft capital, you're going to be terrible for a couple years, and it's going to be when you're trying to win. Like right now, the Giants need to make the decision. Hey, we're done. We need to make a move. This is either going to be start to sell pieces off and get our some draft capital, or try to get as bad as we can and move up in the draft.
Yep. I honestly think they're in a good position for this year. I know that's tough, like when you're a fan of the team, but being bad is better than like picking up a couple wins and being mediocre and not, what if Daniel Jones played well enough and they decide to keep him another year? You'd probably be more upset, right?
Yeah.
To be out the whole man.
Right? See? So I think this is the best case scenario for them.
Like Herb said, though, if he goes 8-8 and he doesn't have terrible numbers, you give him another ride. Like they're going to do that. The Giants would do that.
No, they won't.
They signed him to the contract when he did that. He hasn't had a good year ever.
They know it was a mistake now.
Now.
Yeah, they should have known it was a mistake then.
He had one good season.
Yeah.
They know it's a mistake.
That's a stretch to call that a good season.
2022 wasn't bad, man. But that wasn't bad. We were over
I'll
500.
I'll defend them. It was a good season because they went to the playoffs and they won a playoff game. So that gave them kind of a false hope about what they had with him.
Yeah,
they signed him. Yeah. So
him?
Huh?
I can't. But your quarterback is usually the first guy you pay. It just kind of goes along with the whole thing.
I agree with that, but I didn't think that he played great that year.
Yeah,
he's not getting paid anymore. That was enough.
Yeah. No more checks. No more checks.
I guess we are changing, but as far as getting rid of folks, it makes me nervous. I'm like, who are you gonna get rid of? I'm like, there's certain names I don't want to see them out on the street to somebody else. That wouldn't sit right. But we should be. Pat said Titans. Shane, you got Pats on this one? I'm going Titans if May's not playing. I'm going Titans.
Yeah. I'm going Pats just because the Titans podcaster is telling me they might be the worst team in the league. So I'm gonna go with the Pats.
I think I'm not sure if May's getting to the concussion protocol. I don't think he practiced on Wednesday. I'm not sure about that one, but I had to double check. I don't think he practiced on Wednesday. I think he was on the side with the trainers, so he's probably not playing. There's no way Brissett is no. I'll be shocked, but I'm hoping to be shocked, but I just want to see it. All right, Bears at Shane's favorite team, second favorite team, the Cardinals. I'm going with the Cardinals. They've been playing really good offensively. I like what they're doing, man.
Yes. I'm going with the Cardinals by the skin of their teeth every single week now, I guess.
Don't you want to see a Harrison, a Dunza showdown? I want this. I want this real, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't looked at numbers, man, but it feels like Kyler Murray is playing better, though, than Caleb Williams right now.
Oh, yeah. Michael Wilson is doing a lot for the Cardinals. So, Murray got a lot of nice talent. I want to see that Harrison Dunza head-to-head. Who's the best wide receiver in this game, in the draft? Harrison went, number one in wide receiver, but Dunza was at what? Went ninth? I want to see this. It's going to be a nice little showdown. So hopefully the quarterback play is going to be good. Lions at Packers.
Did Shane give his pick?
He's probably going with
he was going to make up a pick for you, too.
That's what I was waiting for.
Oh, nice. I'm like, I just assumed we were Herb again. I'm sorry. I shouldn't assume that. Bears at Cardinals. You got Shane.
I actually have the Bears in this one. I think it's going to be a high-scoring one, but I think that maybe Chicago decides they want to play defense this week.
What do you mean? Maybe you hate the Cardinals.
I do hate the Cardinals, but as I've said on this podcast, though, they have played a lot better this year. And
Yeah.
I think Kyler Murray has shown that for as much heat as he took for, maybe not buying in when it was Cliff Kingsbury, he has control of this offense now. I think he does a great job of getting the ball around. And Arizona's going to be competitive. They're not the same old Cardinals this year.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And everybody in the division has like the same record, so they're right there.
Lions at
the
Packers.
Rams, they played one less game. Say what? Who is that?
Lions at Packers. I'm going Lions. I'm not
Lions.
Here's the thing. Whether Love is playing or not, I'm still going with the Lions here. Shane, same with you?
Lions, yep.
Copy that. Jaguars at Eagles. I'm just go ahead with the Eagles. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I want them to win, but it might be a shootout. You never can
Not
tell.
with Jacksonville.
Eagles.
Lawrence threw for 300 and 2 or 3 touchdowns.
He might throw for 303 picks.
Oh, Lord.
He has not played well this year.
All right. Look at the okay. It's not great, but
I'm not saying he has a team. But when you throw the ball to the other team, it really takes care of those offensive worries.
Yeah. Or just fumble for no reason.
All right, last game. I think we're gonna have to push our 5-pack for next week. I don't know if we got the time to get it in. But the Bucks at the Chiefs is the Monday night game. This should be a better game than what the numbers say. They got them at 8.5. Chiefs are the top 5 defense, so their defense has been stepping it up in the past couple of games. And the Bucks got the 30th defense. Oh man, I'm going with the Chiefs here. Maybe it's a lot easier than what I'm making it out to be. You guys got the Chiefs as well.
Yeah. No Godwin, no Evans. It's tough for me to go with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they got McMillan though.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can give him no love like that. So, all right. So we're gonna hold up on the 5-pack, man. But any final thought before we shut the? Huh?
I got all my notes and everything. My lovely 5-pack.
You think we can get it in?
I don't got anywhere to go. I'll read you mine real quick, and then you can decide if y'all got time.
I think Lady Alpha made me feel like I was holding up to my football time. Gotta go. I'm like, gotta go. They didn't even kick off yet.
Yeah, you still got 15 minutes.
Let's do it. Let's do 5-pack. Let's go. All
right.
So you guys, they don't know the rules. For those people who are watching for the first time, we do a 5-pack poll every week, almost every week. 5 categories: 1, win their division; 2, dead last in the division; 3, play in Super Bowl in the next 3 years; 4, in a full rebuild mode within 5 years; and 5, first round playoff exit. Our 5 teams this week are the 49ers, the Bills, the Cowboys, the Dolphins, and the Lions. Almost at the Tigers. I'm still in baseball mode. All right. So Niners, Bills, Cowboys, Dolphins, and Lions/Tigers. What do you got, Herb?
Picked my favorite team of the bunch for the Super Bowl. So I went with Detroit.
What?
For my Super Bowl team. Yup.
Look at
so that slided everybody else down. Buffalo wins their division. Miami with Tua make a great run, slide into the playoffs, lose in the first round. San Francisco cannot overcome their injuries, and they end up last in their division, which a division everybody has the same record. Last could be like only 1 game out of first, but they still do that. And your full rebuild, which they'll never admit that they're in the middle of a full rebuild. Dallas, what'd you say, within 5 years, right, is my time period for the rebuild, or 3 years? Yeah. So in the next 5, their full rebuild. Jerry Jones goes on vacation, gets kidnapped by refugees. He doesn't return to the team. Whoever takes over decides that it's time for a full rebuild, get off all these contracts, and they start over.
I wonder if they have the pride to do that, though.
That's why I had to get rid of Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he does. That's why my scenario has him gone somehow.
The fact that they kept Dak, even though I know that he didn't really care for him, tells me that his pride wouldn't let him go out on the street, potentially to a division rival, and he had to get somebody off the scrap heap to play quarterback for him. I just feel like his pride won't let him do a full rebuild, but we'll see what happens. All right, I'll do mine. I'll let Shane go ahead and close us out. I got San Fran winning the division. I guess it's still feasible. C-Mac will be coming back after this week, after this bye, so he may be really ready. I heard he was doing a little bit of work, but I don't know how much work. So if he comes back and they just run up the gut and they just rock out for 8 games, guess what? The division is wide open anyway, so this is a great possibility. I got Detroit as the first round playoff exit, and it's only because history has showed. Yeah, it's because history has showed me that.
My heart.
Sorry, it's just that I haven't seen it yet. I know they are blowing out teams like the Titans 52-14. I see it, but last year, they defensively the bottom dropped out, and did a couple of games this year. I'm like, okay, I saw a couple of flashes, wasn't sure, so I'm reserving judgment. But right now, they're going to be the ones going to be the first round playoff exit. I think Miami's going to be that full rebuild within 5 years, because I don't know. It's hard to see them give Tua another contract, another big one. It's kind of hard to see based on what's going on right now. People are concerned about his health. They should be concerned about it because of one more hit, and who knows what that means. I mean, how many has he had so far? Way too many. So I don't know. So I can see them being in that realm. I doubt that Hill and Waddle are happy with their situation. If you bring in a rookie quarterback, are they going to be happier then? It's kind of hard to really see that from here. I got Buffalo in Super Bowl in the next 3 years. So my surprise pick, I wanted to shake things up, but I got Dallas last in the division. That ain't hate. I'm looking at their schedule. They could potentially be 2-8 in the next 10 games. They got Atlanta, Philly, Houston, Washington, the Giants, Cincinnati, the Panthers, the Bucks, the Eagles, and then the Commanders again. Now, besides playing us and the Panthers, none of those other teams are automatic W's for them. So they could be 2-8. And I could see a team like the Giants who's playing everybody close. They're not getting blown out by anybody. They play everybody close, especially because of the defense. Have at least enough wins to be on top of them. I could see it. So I got them going dead last in the division, which would be so cool. All right, Shane, what do you have?
For me, I went San Francisco with the first round exit. I think they're good enough to make the playoffs, but the injuries still catch up with them. Buffalo, I put as the wins division. Okay. I agree with Herb. I think Dallas is in a full rebuild. Miami, I think dead last. They were my iffy one because it's going to take something for them to end up dead last. And Detroit, I think, plays in the Super Bowl. I think they get it this year.
Go.
All right. So if that be so, and it plays out that same way, who's your NFC representative?
In the Super Bowl, NFC? I picked Detroit at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I think the Lions are. Yeah.
So who they knocking out to go to the Super Bowl? Who are they playing? You said first round playoff exit.
What's that?
So who are they knocking out to go to the Super Bowl then? In your scenario, the Lions.
I mean, with the NFC, I think that's harder than most. I mean, they might end up having to play a division team. I think the game against the Vikings or Green Bay would still be tough for them. Like I said, I think San Francisco takes an early exit, so I don't think they're the last team remaining.
It's not the
Falcons.
Falcons.
I think Detroit though has set themselves apart from everybody else.
All right,
I'm with it.
Yellows from Jared Goff, huh? All right. Well, any closing thoughts? Been through the fun show, man. Thanks for bringing me up emotionally because I didn't feel it today. But thank you.
Oh man.
All right. So I got one question before we close out. Shane, can you explain? I mean, the Expos, I get that because we talked about that on the other show about our love for some of the classic baseball teams and the teams that should still have a franchise, such as the Expos. I'm not understanding the Notre Dame 3-quarter. Not sure what's going on here. Help me out with that.
The Expos are the closest pro team to me. I mean, I literally live less than 35 minutes from the Canadian border. So the Expos get that one in the heart. For Notre Dame, I was a big Notre Dame fan when Lou Holtz was the coach. I like Marcus Freeman now. And this is a pretty nice Under Armour jacket. That's really the big
he's
thing.
He's just stylish is what he's saying. I'm just stylish.
You said it, Herb, and I was hoping you would bring that up. But yeah,
let me guess. I agree with her. I guess.
I'm gonna wear that
what did the
T-shirt.
kid say that's the drip. I mean, I don't know what.
The
I let other
drip?
people decide how good I look. I
There
don't
you
have
go.
to say
Well,
it.
Shane, 10 out of 10 from me, buddy. 10 out of 10.
I appreciate it, Herb.
Word drip and Notre Dame together in the same sentence, but we'll take it. Notre Dame drip. I might even tweet that at the end of the show. Notre Dame. Matter of fact, you know what? I am going to tweet it.
There you
Notre
go.
Dame.
We're gonna shoot up the charts.
Oh boy.
I love you guys, man.
Guys for joining us. This was so much fun. Well, Houston and the Jets. Can't wait to see Roger sack 5 times. I'm so excited about this. So enjoy your night, guys. This has been awesome as usual, and we are out of here. Peace.